And welcome to Fourth and Inches ASU edition. I'm Jordan D'Souza alongside Christian Egerbide and Nathaniel Smith. But before we dive into the Arizona State football game, which took place on Saturday, Nate, how was your weekend?
Well, first and foremost, happy Woptober, everyone. October is actually almost over, which is a crazy thought. 2016 has been quite the blur. Halloween is rapidly approaching. Hope you all have a great costume. As far as the weekend goes, had a dandy one. Jordan's father, Scott, and cousin Matt were in town. So we hung out, went to the ASU game on Saturday, tailgated it up beforehand. And also my friend Alex was in town from me and Christian's hometown. So that was a good time. And then Sunday, just the usual human vegetable activity of not moving for 8 straight hours and watching lots of football. But, yeah, that was my weekend in a nutshell.
It was a very team-oriented weekend. I just think, when someone's parent comes, the whole team eats. Scott was in town, the whole team ate. Christian, how did you enjoy your weekend?
I got to just echo what Nate said about the weekend. It was good to have Jordan's dad and cousin here. And also Captain Alex Rivera back from the 805. Firefighter Alex, great to have him out here in the great state of Arizona. Showed him a good time with the tailgate and taking him to the football game. And then, of course, Sundays are always great just for being an absolute couch potato. Watching your respective NFL team play on Sundays is always fun. So no complaints at all. Great weekend. Ready to get after it.
Definitely, it's crazy. It's October. It's almost the end of October already. I mean, in a few weeks, we'll be thinking about Thanksgiving. After that, we've got December, which brings us Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and the other holiday, Christmas. Christmas. Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that one. But yeah, I mean, sooner or later. I mean, just time flies, All right, now let's just get down to business. I mean, we are here for one reason, and that is to talk Arizona State football, amongst other things. So the game this Saturday, it was a very close game. It was a lot closer than I think most people would have thought. We lost 37-32 against a very potent Washington State Cougars team, and we definitely hung in there. Nate, what were some of your main takeaways from the game?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway for me is the score reads we only lost by 5 points, but the game was not as close as the scoreboard indicates. From the second quarter to the third quarter, the end of the second leading into the beginning of the third, Washington State scored 4 straight touchdowns. And after they started the third quarter red hot, we just were not able to regain momentum towards the end of the game, and they were able to grind out the clock for the win. Looking at some statistical takeaways, our offense continues to struggle. We only had 280 total yards, which isn't terrible, but most teams have that as a passing yards for one game. So the fact that that's our total yards is a bit of an issue. Our defense actually didn't play too bad. We only gave up 346 total yards, and last week we predicted we've been averaging about giving up 500 yards a game. So that was an improvement. So I think we played a little bit better on the defensive side of the ball. But main takeaway is you're just not a very good football team, and our schedule doesn't get any easier.
Do you think offensively this would have been a whole different game if Manny Wilkins would have finished the game?
No, I honestly think we'd have a similar result because, the difference between him and Dylan Sterling Cole at this point, Sterling Cole is very underdeveloped, and they have not expanded the playbook to him at all. So I think the quarterbacks are pretty much replaceable of each other at this point. So to answer your question, I don't think it would have made too much of a difference.
Yeah, I think both of these quarterbacks are kind of in the same boat, but the only thing that's different is that Wilkins has the experience, and I think once Dylan Sterling Cole gets that experience, he'll be able to reach the mediocrity level that Manny Wilkins has showed us throughout the season. So, Christian, what were some of your takeaways from the game?
Well, Jordan, I look at the rushing attack that we put on, 113 yards on the ground. That's pretty good. Granted, we did rush it 35 times, which is a ton for one football game.
Ground and pound, establish the run.
Hey, that's our motto. But, to run the ball for 113 yards, you're usually expecting that's going to open some passing lanes for you and maybe some play-action pass opportunities, but we really just cannot throw the ball. Only 167 yards passing in this game. That is just piss poor. horrible passing stats. I understand that Manny Wilkins left the game, and, it's kind of tough that he's so injury prone. But, so on the offensive side, our passing attack just has to be a little less stagnant because we're running the ball well, just got to be able to open up those passing lanes because of the run. And then on defense, we held them to negative 52 rushing yards, which is tough to do. That's insane to hold them to negative 50 rushing yards on 19 attempts. That's not a good average rush yard per carry. But the passing attack, again, was an issue. 398 yards through the air for Washington State. We knew coming into this that Mike Leach loved to throw the ball around the field, so we kind of should have been expecting to have a heavy pass attack. Washington State threw the ball 53 times in this game, which is a ton. So, I think we should have just been more prepared to defend against the pass. So, big takeaway is that our passing attack just continues to be bad.
All right, and this is like one question I'm going to open up for both of you guys. Are you guys surprised by the outcome of the game? I know when we talked last week, a lot of us predicted this game to be a blowout. But are you guys surprised that we were able to keep it this close?
Yeah, definitely did not expect only a 5-point margin of loss. Was easily thinking in the range of like 14 to 21. So I guess that's a positive takeaway is that we only lost by 5 points. But as I mentioned earlier, I don't think the game was as close as the scoreboard indicates. A couple bright spots for our team, though, as Christian mentioned, was the rushing defense. They did a great job holding the negative 52 yards rushing. And then Kalen Ballage, our running back, who I guess technically is second string, but in my mind should be the starter because all he does is make plays. He had a long of 52 yards on one carry. He finished with 12 carries, 82 yards, and 1 touchdown. Him and receiver N'Keal Harry, who managed 76 yards receiving, which is incredible given the quarterback situation we had going on. So those two guys are definitely some bright playmakers for our offense.
All right, so now we're going to take a look at the coaching. We are journalists. We got to ask the hard-hitting questions. So I'm going to ask you, Christian, do you think that Todd Graham is on the hot seat? We look at all the years he's coached. First year, 8-5. The next 2 years, we were 10-4 and 10-3. And in 2013, we made the Pac-12 championship. And now last year, we finished 6-7. And this year, we sit at 5-3. And it doesn't look like this season's going to be much better. It's going to be a struggle to win 6 or even maybe 7 games. Do you think it's too early to say that Todd Graham is on the hot seat?
I do think it's too early, Jordan, because the Pac-12 is a pretty tough conference if you look at the teams that you have to deal with as kind of an underdog team in the conference, like in Arizona State. You're going up against SC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington. This year has just come alive and is really good. So, the Pac-12 always gets tons of talent into the conference, and it's so hard to stay at the top of the conference. You look at 2013, 2014, he managed 2 10-win seasons. So he's had some success while he's been here. The last 2 years has been tough, but I think it's a little too early to really put him on the hot seat and, think about getting him out of here this season, like at the end of this season. I think they're definitely going to have to give him at least 1 more year, maybe even 2 more years, just to see, if he can manage to get the type of success he experienced a few years ago again. Just because, Washington comes alive and goes undefeated this season. The last few years they hadn't, they'd been kind of middle of the road. So in the Pac-12, all the teams are good. All the teams, have the opportunity to, be a contender at any time. So I think you just need to give Todd Graham, a season or 2 more to try to make this Arizona State team into a contender.
Definitely. I think they're going to give him some more time, but I think we're definitely another year or 2, like subpar years away from this conversation happening for real. I know the gentleman to my right might disagree with you, Christian, so we're going to get his opinion on that. Nate, do you think Todd Graham is on the hot seat or should be?
Yeah. If I am the AD at Arizona State, Mr. Graham is definitely on the hot seat. I don't know if he is in reality. It's hard to say without having an inside source. But in my opinion, yes, I do think he should be on the hot seat. Yes, you can't forget about 2 10-win seasons. Very impressive in a always tough Pac-12 division, especially recently. But football is a cutthroat sport with cutthroat decisions and, quick, fast decisions are made in college and the NFL all the time. And the level of tolerance in football is probably lower than any other sport. And, you always hear, what have you done for me lately? And Todd Graham hasn't done much lately. Last year, an abysmal 6-7 record when our preseason ranking was like 15. Like, some people were picking us to make the playoffs. And just to turn around and go 6-7 is just embarrassing. And then this year we start off with 4 straight wins. Was it 5 straight wins? 4?
Yeah, we were 4-0, and then we lost to SC.
Okay, so 4 straight wins. Then we went to 4-1 after UCLA, and then we've lost the past couple. And I just don't see it getting any easier this year. We got Oregon coming up next week, who has also struggled, but is still a good team despite their record. And I think the biggest red flag for me is his recruiting. You look at the Pac-12 especially. The SEC isn't really known for this, but the Pac-12 is dominated by great quarterbacks historically. And the past 2 seasons, ASU has had probably one of the bottom 3 quarterbacks in the Pac-12. I mean, last year Berkovici was below average, not very good. And then this year we turn it over to like a 3-headed battle coming into camp, and they picked Manny Wilkins as the starter, who has not been good. Sterling Cole's gotten some action because of injury, and from what we've seen from him, he doesn't seem to be very good. We know he's really young. He's a true freshman. But if I'm administration at Arizona State, I'm concerned about his recruiting level, especially at the quarterback position, a position that's very important, especially in the Pac-12. So in my mind, yes, he's on the hot seat.
Yeah, definitely. I think the one thing we've missed is like one really stud quarterback recruit. Like even the teams that tend to be at the lower end of the conference or like middle, like Colorado, Washington State, those are the teams that right now have some of the best quarterbacks in the conference. So definitely that's going to be a red flag for me in terms of Todd Graham. Looking ahead to next week, we have a tough matchup against the Oregon Ducks in a game where we don't really know if Manny Wilkins is going to be fully healthy or not. Nate, do you think it's smart to rush back Wilkins this game?
No, it's not smart, but at the same time, I don't really think it matters. He hasn't been very good this year. Yeah, he led a scoring drive while he was healthy against Washington State, but as we've seen from his resume so far this year, throws a lot of picks, not enough touchdowns to offset as many picks as he throws, relies on his legs too much, doesn't keep his eyes downfield, not a pocket passer whatsoever, undersized. So no, I guess we shouldn't rush him back. Maybe let Sterling Cole take the start, see what he can do for us. Really just kind of open the playbook to him. And I believe he's recruited as a pocket passer. He's said to have good arm strength. So I think they should let Sterling Cole get the start, see what he can do against some quality competition. And maybe we can get a better look at what our future quarterback looks like.
Christian, do you think there's a chance that we can win against Oregon if Wilkins does sit?
Actually, Jordan, I think I give us the exact same chance of winning whether Wilkins plays or Sterling Cole plays. I really don't think Wilkins is that much of a difference maker that he's going to, elevate our game so that we could beat the Ducks if he was playing. So for that reason, I definitely agree with Nate and think we should just sit him if he's not fully healthy. He's been shown to be injury prone. We don't want to throw him in there with a nagging injury that he can then, escalate into maybe a long-term injury. So I think we just sit him for this game, get Sterling Cole in there, kind of see what he can do just with a full game to himself to try to harness the offense and, maybe get a look at, what the future of Arizona State football looks like because Sterling Cole is a true freshman. When he's been in there, he's been serviceable. He hasn't been great, but I think he's going to continue to develop as a quarterback and, maybe grow into, someone that can lead us to some good wins here at Arizona State. So I definitely think you don't need Manny Wilkins for this game. I don't think he would make a difference really in the outcome if he was in there.
So, Nate, do you think it's safe to say that the Manny Wilkins era has come to an end?
Well, I don't really know if you can refer to it as an era because...
Is it safe to say that the Manny Wilkins era hasn't even started?
No, not that. More of like, what's shorter than an era? Like I don't know. It seems like, to put it in perspective, like a day.
Like
maybe 24 hours, hypothetically.
The Manny Wilkins hour.
Yeah. The Manny Wilkins 45 minutes.
And the clock has struck 12.
Yeah, it's midnight Cinderella. Wilkins,
Later, Manny.
do not think is the answer to this team or ever will be. I will be absolutely shocked if he starts opening day next year. Like, I'll be beside myself. So, yeah, no, he's not the future.
All right, Manny, it was fun while it lasted, but back to the Oregon game. Nate, what do you think offensively the Devils are going to have to do in order to pull out a win against the Ducks?
Well, it's been a problem all year. We're going to have to throw the ball. If I'm playing against us, if I'm playing against Arizona State, I load the box with 8 or 9 guys and say, please throw the ball. I dare you. And so far, we have not been able to answer that call. So I think it's crucial that we're able to throw the ball down the field. In my mind, we're going to need at least 250 yards passing, hopefully more. But, the Oregon defense has been known to surrender a lot of points this year. So maybe this is a defense that can let us get back on track. But the Oregon offense has been known to be pretty potent. So if our offense doesn't respond by also putting up points, I think we're going to find ourselves in a big hole quickly.
Now, Christian, defensively, we all know that Oregon's always had that potent offense, and especially their rushing attack this year. What do you think defensively that we have to do in order to stop them?
Well, you look at what we did against Wazoo, stopping their running attack. I think we're going to have to try to do that again against Oregon because they've been pretty deadly so far in their rushing attack this year. They're definitely going to come out wanting to do that. 21 touchdowns on the season for the rushing attack of Oregon. That's pretty substantial. The Arizona State defense just really needs to work on continuing to stop the run and not being so vulnerable when teams go play action and open up passing lanes against them. Oregon was in a shootout last week against Cal, 52-49. They lost that game. But they've shown that they can put up points. Our defense is going to have to be stingy and try to, keep the score low because our offense, quite honestly, I don't think can put up those type of points with Sterling Cole in at quarterback. So we're going to have to try to pass the ball better, as Nate said. I totally agree that any team coming to play Arizona State, you want to just stack the box, dare us to pass the ball because we have shown absolutely nothing to say that we are able to pass the ball against anyone. So I'm definitely going to think it's going to be a tough game from that standpoint just because they're going to try to, dare us to pass the ball, and I quite honestly do not think we're going to be able to produce anything in the pass.
So this is actually a pretty important game for Arizona State. We're one win away from being eligible for a bowl. And then if you look at the rest of our schedule, it's not easy. I think the only other game we'd be favored in is the U of A game, and we're both equally bad. So from that point of view, Nate, how important do you think this game really is for Arizona State looking ahead?
Well, looking for bowl eligibility, get to that sought-after 6-win mark, I think it's huge. And, Oregon's not going to make it easy on us. They've lost 5 in a row, a couple by a close margin. Most recently this past weekend against Cal, they only lost by a score of 52-49. They put up 49 points and still lost. So, it's concerning. The level of panic / needing to win here for Arizona State is big, especially for bowl eligibility and just for confidence and everything that's been going on this season. But I just don't see it coming true because this Oregon offense is no joke. You look at their running back, who's a stud, Royce Freeman. He's a junior. He's about 275 yards shy of 4,000 career rushing yards at Oregon, which is insane in just 3 years. This guy is, if he enters the draft, he'll probably be like a top 10 running back picked, and just a great talent. So our rushing defense has been pretty good recently, so that's something we're going to have to focus on in order to stop Royce Freeman. But yeah, I think the panic level is high, and we need to have a sense of urgency this week, that's for sure.
Definitely. I think urgency is going to be key in terms of getting that elusive 6th win that we're looking for so we can get into the bowl. And, if you look at our remaining schedule, we've got Oregon, Utah, Washington, and U of A. And besides U of A, the one thing that all those teams have in common is that they're pretty good at playing football. And lately we haven't really shown the ability to do so. So definitely this is going to be a very important game. Christian, do you think there's a chance at all that we finish 5-7 and just lose out the rest of these games and not make a bowl?
I definitely think there's a chance, Jordan. I do. Against Oregon, we're going to have to play really, really well if we want to win. And I think this is an absolutely crucial game to win if we want to get that elusive 6 win, because then we come back home, play Utah at home, followed by going to Washington to play them, which is a tough one. Both Utah and Washington would be very tough games, probably losses. And then, seeing that we don't win this game against Oregon, having to go into Tucson to play the Arizona Wildcats to get that 6 win is a very, very tough thing to do. Go into their house, a big rivalry game, last game of the season, trying to get the 6 win. That's just not the position that we want to be in. So I think if we can just capture this 6 win against Oregon, kind of get it out of the way and just know that we have the bowl eligibility, that would be huge just for the confidence of the team and just to kind of get the load off knowing that, yeah, we got the 6 win and we're bowl eligible instead of having to wait till the last game of the season to try to get it.
Definitely. I could definitely see that this 6 win, if we get it or not, coming down to the last game. Nate, do you think there's a high chance that this comes down to the last game, whether or not we make a bowl?
Yeah, I think I'm actually going to predict that it will come down to the last game because, this schedule we got coming up, we got a pissed off Oregon team also fighting for a bowl, lost 5 in a row, at home versus 17th ranked Utah, and then we make the trip up to Washington against the number 4 team in the country whose defense is absolutely insane. So, yeah, I'd say there's a very, very good chance that it does come down to our final game at Arizona on November 25th. And that one's actually on ESPN, so the cameras will be on us, lights will be on us, and we'll see if we can make it to that elusive bowl game.
Definitely. Well, this has been an interesting season to say the least, and I'm very interested to see how we play against Oregon. This has been 4th and Inches. I'm Jordan D'Souza.
I'm Christian Agarbita.
And I'm Nate Smith.
And thanks for stopping by.